Hello everyone, my name is Felipe Zuniga and I am one of the front-end developers that worked on BreazeHome version 5.0. My team and I created a mortgage calculator tool that allows a user to make informed decisions when buying a home. Most online real estate applications feature a mortgage calculator tool, and we actually were inspired by some of the mortgage calculator tools that are found on Trulia.com, Realtor, and Zillow. So without further ado, here is the mortgage calculator tool. So this is the main tool that the user will interact with. There are three different tools created by our team and one tool specific for the listings page or a specific property that I will talk about later, but this is the main tool and the first tool that was developed by our team. So it's made up of two different elements, the inputs and the data visualization elements. And I just want to quickly mention that I personally worked on this tool. I worked on the data visualization elements, the styling, and a little bit of the inputs, which are mainly created by Rafael Leal. But to give you a quick rundown of how this works, the user is going to input their property and loan information on the calculator tool input form, and then these chart directives and our data legend will automatically update based on any change in the tool. So if, for example, our home price goes from $300,000 to $400,000, our tool is going to take notice and it's going to change adequately. If we want to change our interest rate, something like 3.5, maybe even increase our property taxes or our home insurance, our tool is going to take notice and act accordingly. So as I mentioned, this is created two different elements. We have our tool and our data visualization. And basically the whole point of this tool is to allow the user to easily play around with the tool and view different mortgage scenarios. This is going to help the user make a more informed decision, and it's going to be very easy for them to just quickly change one of the elements, one of the variables, and view a different scenario. So how is this done? This is all done through functions implemented by Rafael Leal, known as PMT, or the annuity payment function. These functions help us calculate the monthly payment, the estimated monthly payment, and each of the mortgage pricing factors for a specific mortgage situation. So to talk about the data visualization element, which is what I mainly worked on, it's composed of three different elements: bar chart, barchart.js, piechart.js, and the data legend. These two charts were created using a library known as d3.js, which is great for data visualizations and creating and working with SVG files. And our data legend is some pure Angular magic, which just uses the PMT functions and bounds the data returned by them to the front end through the use of Angular expressions. A little bit technical there, but basically it's all done through the magic of Angular. So the bar chart. The bar chart shows principal and interest over different loan terms and allows the user to compare and contrast the biggest payment of a mortgage among different loan terms. The pie chart is going to represent each mortgage payment as a fraction of the total monthly payment and allows the user to view how different payments compare to each other and helps visualize the information in the data legend. The data legend is the numerical value that describes each of the individual wedges in the pie chart, and it basically describes the pie chart itself. So these elements create our main tool, and as I said before, this is going to help our user create make a more informed decision when deciding on a mortgage or on a specific property. So other than the main tool, there's three more tools developed by Carlos Lores and Lerian Nunez that also allow the users to make informed decisions when buying a property or deciding on a mortgage. So the estimated mortgage calculator comparison, or the comparison tool as I like to call it, was developed by Carlos Lores, and it basically is an implementation of the main tool. and the pie chart. This tool uses two different inputs and two different charts to allow the user to compare and contrast two different mortgage scenarios side by side. The significance of this tool is that it's probably the quickest way that the user has to see numerical values and visualizations for two different mortgage elements, two different mortgage loans. With this tool, the user can play around and decide that maybe one mortgage is too expensive, or maybe they're not. Maybe they can change, a specific element and maybe have a cheaper mortgage, or maybe they want to decide on two different properties and see maybe one is cheaper than the other because of the payments. Maybe they don't have to pay enough taxes. They don't have to pay that much for taxes or insurance. Maybe the interest for one mortgage is much lower than the other. And notice how this uses a donut chart instead of our main tool's pie chart. It's still the same pie chart element, just with a different inner radius. So that's our estimated mortgage calculator comparison tool. We also have an interest-only calculator, which is an alternative to a mortgage. It's called an interest-only loan. And this tool helps the user calculate how much interest they would be paying for an interest-only mortgage, as well as showing how much you would pay for a fixed loan over a loan term and the monthly savings. So this tool allows a user to make a decision on a specific type of loan. Maybe the interest-only loan benefits the user more than the traditional fixed loan, and it allows the user to view exactly how much you would pay and the monthly savings as an estimate. Basically, we give the user another option for a different type of loan to give them more flexibility when deciding on a loan or deciding a specific property. And actually, we also have a tool developed by Leon Nunez that helps the user estimate, the right affordability, how much they can afford based on their annual income, the down payment they put for the house, their credit score, and their monthly debts. So this tool is very useful because it also features a debt to income slider. This allows the user to alter their debt to income ratio, and if they have more debt than income, obviously the affordability is going to go down. But if there's more income than debt, the user can afford a much more expensive house. This is a very cool tool because it's one of the simplest tools to use, and it has some very common elements that a user is going to look at when deciding on a mortgage. So annual income is something that obviously have to look at. Debts and credit score is gonna affect definitely gonna affect your affordability, because if you have too much debts, you're not gonna be able to pay a more expensive mortgage, and the credit score is basically gonna be your credibility towards getting a loan. So those are the four tools we have on our main calculator tool page. And we also have two help pages that allow the user to actually learn how to use the calculator and learn what a mortgage is. So this was one of the most important help pages that we made. This was developed by Rafael Fernandez and Rafael Leal, the two Rafaels, and they basically describe each of the mortgage pricing elements and what mortgage would be the best for you. And this actually, we want the user to actually look at this before playing with the tool to help make a more informed decision when buying a home or deciding on a specific loan. So we also featured a help page for our calculator tool. This help page describes each of the values and fields in the calculator tool, and also explains the output for the data visualization elements. So this tool is also important because it's going to allow the users, so people who don't know what each of these individual elements are, can look at what is a mortgage page, and then if they don't understand how to use the tool, come over here, and this help page is going to explain to them exactly what's being displayed on the screen. So that's a very cool two little help pages that we did. We also developed a calculator tool with data visualization for specific properties. So what does this mean? When you go over here and you find a property, or when you search for it, I'm going to choose this one right here. Our information is going to load. We also developed a calculator tool for specific properties. This was developed by Leon Nunez, and let me show you how it works. So here is the details page calculator tool. This is taking the information from our database and it's presenting it to the user just like in the main tool. It features a pie chart, calculator tool as I like to call it, and it's also going to respond directly to our user's input. It also features the monthly payment that one would have to pay, and the pie chart also shows each payment as a fraction of the total. Now if we go to another property, we can also see if we search for one, let's put something like 141. We're also going to be able to search for a property, and then we can find the property. This is going to load up. Oh, what happened there? This is going to load up, and we're going to be able to see the individual calculator tool for this property. Once again, as you can see, the most you're going to be paying is principal and interest. Taxes are actually quite high for this. And it's also going to show the monthly payment for this specific property. The user can play around with the interest rate. You can also change your home price and play around with that as well, and the type of loan. The down payment is automatically calculated from the home price and the loan type. So this is basically the work done by the mortgage calculator team for BreazeHome version 5.0. And I just want to close out the introduction video by mentioning that our tool is mainly for the client. You know, none of us are bankers, none of us work for financial institutions. We simply wanted to create a tool that helps the user and explains to the user what a mortgage is and how to, decide on the best one. Our tool is basically just totally client facing, and it's geared mainly toward the home buyer, because we wanted to make a tool an unbiased tool that gives the user an estimate for specific loan information for specific property, allows them to compare and contrast between different mortgages, decide between an interest-only mortgage, an interest-only loan, or a traditional fixed loan, and even help them decide based on their annual income, credit score, and debt how expensive of a home they could afford. Thank you very much, guys. This was Felipe Zuniga, one of the front-end developers working on BreazeHome 5.0. That's all we have today.